Okay, let's get started. So welcome everybody. My name is Matt Clark. I'm the Partnership and Events Manager for the Hertfordshire Growth Hub. It's with great delight today that we bring you a session on LinkedIn professional profiles. Sarah Clancy from Wildly Social Media will be delivering the session for us today. We've put everybody on mute for the start of the session. When we get to the end of the session today, we will take everybody off mute and we can do questions afterwards. If there's any questions that you have, in terms of going through the webinar, feel free to pop your questions into the message box, and my colleague Carl, also from the Growth Hub, will be forwarding those questions on or answering them. So for those that don't know, we are the Hertfordshire Growth Hub. We're led and delivered on behalf of the Hertfordshire Local Enterprise Partnership. We're one of 38 growth hubs across the UK, and a consortium partners deliver the support specialist exemplars with the Hertfordshire University, the Hertfordshire Chamber of Commerce, and Visit Herts. Our support is fully funded, impartial, and free to you. There are no catches, and it's available to all SMEs, regardless of size or at what stage. So we are all the support you can get in one place, and we look at various different things: planning and vision, sales and marketing, sustainability advice, resilience and risk, skills and recruitment, advice on finance and funding, regulation and compliance, and workplace well-being. And we do that through a variety of ways. We do it through advice with our advisors. We do it through events such as webinars that we've got today, but also in-face and in-person events. We've got on-demand videos on our website. We've got a great tool called Grant Finder, and we have a great bank of resources that we can connect you with. In terms of our business support, our growth account managers, we can set you up a dedicated growth account manager that can carry out an in-depth analysis on your organisation and provide ongoing support. Professional advice to develop bespoke plans of action to overcome barriers to growth and identify opportunities, and manage referrals to additional appropriate support if needed. We have a great network, we have a great ecosystem within Hertfordshire, and the Hertfordshire Growth Hub is really connected with all of those. It's quite simple. If you want to get in touch with us, in terms of, I'm going to send these slides out at the end. We've got our email address here, which is inquiries@hertgrowthhub.com. We've got a phone number there for people that want to ring in, and we've got a website, and all our information is on our website. I will share these slides and our contact details after the session today. So that brings me to the end of my introduction. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to hand over to Sarah, who will lead your session today. Thank you. Stop sharing, and I'm going to make you a presenter, Sarah. Excellent. Over to you. Thank you very much. Brilliant.
Good morning, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here today, and I'm really excited to deliver this session to you because I'm a massive fan of LinkedIn, and I love helping businesses work out how to use it effectively and also professionally for individuals. So today's session, or just a little bit about me. So I'm a LinkedIn certified, I have my LinkedIn certified qualification, and I've actually been working in marketing for 13 years. So I've got my CIM from many moons ago, but I'm absolutely obsessed with helping my clients fill their pipelines with warm leads. So when I'm not busy working with my variety of clients, you'll find me in the countryside, either running, cycling, or camping, or being a mum to my two very busy boys. So I've worked with a whole range of businesses. So I can, as a freelancer, I take kind of a lot of my experience that I've gained through different sectors, and I help a variety of businesses with all of their social media marketing, both on the paid side and on the organic front as well. So the aim of today's session is to transition you from wanting to run through your life for LinkedIn to being quite zen and enjoying the LinkedIn space. So hopefully I'll achieve that, and as Matt said, we can take questions at the end. So for me, the LinkedIn success path starts with an optimized profile, and then we want to be able to strategically connect with the right people. And the right people, ultimately, it's a big networking space, and it's about engaging and building relationships with the right people and taking those relationships into hopefully deeper connections and collaborations going forward. But the essence of it is about building trust about the professional topics that you want to be known for and building your credibility. So each of these different areas we're going to be covering off in the session today. And I just wanted to kind of just come back in terms of the objectives of using LinkedIn as well, because ultimately we want to be using it to connect with the right people and start conversations. It's about social selling. It's not about pitching. It's about selling, but in a social environment, and acknowledging that it is a networking space rather than just a pitching and broadcast channel. But we do want to be present and we want to engage and we want to build trust. And I love this quote from Reid Hoffman that says, trust equals consistency plus time. It's not a short-term platform, it's you have to be in it for the long game. So in terms of your profile is effectively your landing page. You want to make it count. It's really important that you get that first impression really spot on. Think about how you can add value through your profile. There's lots of different elements that you can add media to now and talk about and be really clear about what value you bring to your customers and clients. We want to use your profile to communicate your skills and also your experience as well. But it's absolutely key for business development and also ranks super highly on Google search. So if you search your name, have a go after this, or somebody else's name, often Google will bring a LinkedIn profile up quite high on search. And also, ultimately, people do business with people. People want to buy into the person that they're going to be working with. They want to see a holistic view of that person, and that builds trust as well. There is actually, I should have mentioned before, an SSI score that you can have a look at in terms of how LinkedIn ranks your profile. If you Google SSI LinkedIn score, you'll be able to see out of 100 how LinkedIn thinks you're doing on the platform. And there's different areas that will show you about how you can improve it as well. So have a look at your SSI score after this session. It's quite interesting to see, and you can track how it's improving. So in terms of your profile, I've taken a screenshot of my profile and I'll walk you through that in a minute. But I just wanted to give you some top tips about how to improve especially the top part of your profile for now. You want to make sure that your core offer is really clear in your profile. There's a lot of businesses I work with and a lot of individuals I work with where it's really hard to decipher exactly what you do. So make it super, super clear. Your banner, which is the top where I've got the yellow big header image on my profile, should be super clear. You can add text into there, but you just need to make sure that the size is correct. And I've just put the sizes in this slide as well. So that's exactly the right size for a header image on LinkedIn. I would test it on mobile as well, because sometimes on mobile it truncates some of the wording, but try and make sure that it works across both desktop and mobile as well. Your professional profile, you should have one, and it also should be really clear and show your face. Again, I see a lot of people that don't have a profile picture, or their profile picture is one that probably was taken about 10 years ago, or not particularly in a professional environment. So make sure it's really clear. People again want to be able to see that the person that they're connecting with is actually a real person, and a photo is obviously super important for that. You want to be able to fill in your areas of your profile with your end user in mind, not about you. It's about how you can describe what you do to make sense to the end user that is effectively the person you want to do business with. So I've put a screenshot of my profile below. I have got creator mode turned on, and on the next slide I'll walk you through what that means. But I have got some elements on here that you might not see if you don't have creator mode turned on. So I will just walk you through them. My profile, obviously, I've got a really clear profile picture. I have got a ring around my profile picture, which means that before LinkedIn closed it down, which unfortunately they have now, I put a short video on my profile just to say what I did, but you can't now do that at the moment. They might bring that back in, but that's what that ring is. I also have a clear banner, and what that banner, sorry, the headline, which is this area here, that headline follows you around LinkedIn. So if you comment on other people's any posts, they will see that little snapshot, and it says obviously I help business build a brand and get leads through social media marketing. So that snapshot is really, really important to make it super clear, because it follows you around the platform, including when you comment on other people's posts. because I've got some hashtags underneath my my headline, that shows that I've got creator mode turned on. So when you have creator mode turned on, it enables you to add some hashtags to your profile. So LinkedIn gets that sense of what kind of topics you talk about and what kind of business you are in as well. Underneath that, again, because I have creator mode turned on, I'm able to update the text, which it basically links out to my free resources. So otherwise it would just be contact me or just a more generic text, but you can actually update that text to be more reflective of exactly what that call to action is. So I've got a freebie page, which that link, if people click on that link, goes to my kind of free downloads that I've made for people. And then on contact information, which is here, again, I see a lot of people that haven't updated this recently, so it's always worth going back in just to double check. You can add multiple websites into your contact information. So if you do have a freebie, for example, or a useful resource for people that you want to direct people to, you can add that in as well as your main landing page. Also make sure that your contact number and email address is up to date. Again, I've been working with businesses recently where their contact details, even the CEO's contact details, were not right. So definitely go back in and check that. So there's some really key fundamentals with a kind of top profile. In terms of creator mode, so LinkedIn introduced this a while back, and you can either turn creator mode on or you can just have it off, which is kind of the baseline. But I just wanted to explain a little bit more as to what it means to have creator mode turned on, because I don't think everybody understands completely. The first thing is the connect button that you see on a LinkedIn profile will be changed to follow. So it's like follow first. You can still connect with people, but where they're on their banner, it will say follow. So if they send you a request to connect, they can follow you, even if you don't accept them as a connection, so they can still follow you. So that's one thing. It displays your core topics as hashtags in your about section. Obviously, I've just shown you that, but you can add the core topics that you want to be kind of associated with in your profile. The featured post feature sits near the top of your profile, and I've just included this at the bottom. And if you have it turned on, again, I've been working with businesses recently where they haven't updated their featured post section on their profile. You have to remember that your profile is like your landing page. So if you can feature some really good posts at the top of your profile, people will see that really early on. I'll come on to that in a little bit more, but ultimately with creator mode, your featured posts are much higher up your profile. You do also become eligible to be featured as a suggested creator to help to follow, to help you to be discovered. So that's another option that is obviously can be quite useful. And LinkedIn will assess your profile to give you access potentially to additional tools. So that could be lives, the ability to create newsletters on your profile, and also it gives you much more in the way of analytics. So you get to see quite detailed analytics, so creator analytics, which can be really useful in terms of how your posts are performing and your followers, etc. So there's obviously a lot of benefits. I have creator mode turned on. I find it very useful, but obviously, you know, you can weigh the pros and cons of whether you find that useful to you or not. Your feature post section, so this is my feature post section I've just pulled out a screenshot of, and what I like to do in that featured section is have a mixture of different styles of posts. So I've got one which is a bit more value based, so you know I'm helping my clients with a carousel post that I've created. Another one which is a bit more about a testimonial that of somebody that's reviewed and left a review for me on LinkedIn, so I can bring that into a post and I can feature that. And then I have my free resources as well, which links out again to my in my header where I've got go to my free resources. I've got a post about that as well. So you can edit your feature post, which is this little kind of pencil here. So again, just go back in and check that regularly. You know, you can update your feature post. So I think you can add, I think it's 15. Obviously, the first few are the ones that people see first. So whether they scroll across it anymore, we don't know. But ultimately, the first few are the most important. So moving on to, again, we'll go back to your profile sections we've talked about at the top. The next really big area is summary section and work experience. So ultimately, again, I've put mine in the right-hand side. It's an enhanced elevator pitch, and you have got 2,000 characters to talk about your mission, your motivation, and your skills to your ideal customer. And we want to really pitch that to be more about them and also what you want to be known for. You can keep it really succinct sentences, and use bullet points or emojis to grab the attention of kind of achievements, skills and services, but also how you help people. So if it's just one big wall of text and quite hard to read, so just remember to use white space, break it up and think about how you position yourself as a helpful person for people to connect with. I always put a call to action at the top and the bottom to make it easy for people, if they do want to reach out and connect with you, that you can direct them straight away to your email address, or how they can then follow you on different channels, etc. Then your work experience, obviously, you know, you can go back years and years in here, but we want to keep it short and succinct. Add a summary of the activities that you've been involved with obviously bullet points, but you can also add media files in here as well. So that's another area, you know, if you go back over your work experience, if you've got key achievements you've done, presentations, or in your current role that you want to add any media, so any downloads, etc., you can add that in your work experience. And I always recommend to people to think about asking for recommendations with previous clients. So it's a really big part, I think, when I'm looking to work in collaboration with somebody else, I will look at their recommendations. So if you kind of keep it in the front of your mind when you're working with clients to ask them for recommendations, which you can do through LinkedIn, I think that's really important to build that kind of credibility up on your profile. So now that we've kind of talked about your profile in a very snapshot way, I kind of want to move now onto connections on the platform, because ultimately, once you've got an optimized profile, you know, it is your landing page, then, you know, we need to be really making connections with a genuine network of people that either represent your target profile of client or collaborator. And that's where I do a lot of my time, is work in collaboration with other marketing consultants that bring in specialists, for example. So I connect a lot with my ideal clients and potential collaborators, or to add value to learning and network, because ultimately you want to curate your feed on LinkedIn to become a space that you actually want to be, and you want to enjoy the platform, because if you can curate it with really interesting people, potential clients, obviously it gives you more of a reason to be there. And I think a really important one as well is you can unfollow people. So if it's a past employee that, you know, maybe is holding you back from posting on the platform because you don't want them to see your posts, and this happens quite a lot in terms of imposter syndrome, people don't feel confident enough, you can unfollow them. So they're just not, you just don't see them. So from your mindset wise, it's a lot easier to then use the platform. But I love a quote from a lady called Leah Turner, who I heard speak at a conference back in June, and she said, think of LinkedIn more as a coffee shop than a boardroom. And I really love that. And I think if you can think of that in your mind, that really helps with how you engage in the platform. It's not a corporate stiff place anymore. It's very much a place for networking in a more of a relaxed, informal way. And also, the more you engage with others, the more LinkedIn learns. So there's something called relevancy scores. So if you start, for example, with Matt, if I like and comment a lot on his posts, if I DM him, if I ring his bell, which I've put here and I'll explain that in a minute, then that sends a signal to LinkedIn that I really enjoy his content. So his content will be prioritized in my LinkedIn feed. So the more that you engage with others, the more LinkedIn learns. So if you think of it about, you can really start to curate your feed on LinkedIn to be reflective of how you want to do business on there. So I've put Matt's profile in here. And I would suggest that you ring the bell. So I don't know whether any of you have done this before, but you can, if they have, I think it's with creator mode turned on, you can go onto their profile if they have it or not. Then obviously if they don't have it, you can't ring it. But if they have a bell, if you ring it, then you will get a notification most of the time when they post then. So you can jump onto their post and, you know, really support their content and, you know, engage with them. So it makes it easier for you to strategically monitor and socially listen to key contacts on the platform. So I highly recommend you do that. Obviously not to everybody, but 10 to 20 contacts I think is a really worthwhile exercise to do. So then finding connections. So there's a couple of ways I've put into this presentation. One of the ways about finding connection is actually with existing clients. So how do we do that? So if we go to the search bar up here and just press enter, you'll then have a selection of different filters that we can look at. So if we click on all filters, and if it's someone that you've recently worked with and they've obviously really enjoyed working with you, or you've had brilliant results with them, for example, you can type their name in, and then you can say connections of whoever it is that you want to put in. Once you've clicked show results, their contacts will show up on your screen, and you can kind of go through their contacts and just say, are any of those kind of my ideal profile of person that I want to be working with? And then you can go back to your client and just say, I've just seen that there's 5 people in your network that I'd love to be connected with. Would you be happy to do an introduction? And obviously, if they say yes, that's obviously great. If they say, yep, I'm happy to introduce you to 3 of them, and 2 of them, probably not at the moment, then you could still go back to the other 2 to say, oh, I was just chatting to Jay the other day, and we were just talking about your business. It would be great to connect with you. So, you can use your existing clients to lean in to find other clients that might work with you in the future. So I think that's a really, really powerful way that a lot of people forget to do. Another one is about Boolean search. So again, I've walked through some steps here about how to do this. So again, if we go to the search bar up here, and if you type, I've just used this example of Bishop Stortford and business. So if I was thinking, right, I want to connect with business owners or businesses in Bishop Stortford, I would put Bishop Stortford in speech marks and then speech marks business. So it's searching for people that have business, Bishop Stortford and business in their profile. So then what I will get is a list of people that have those obviously titles or links in their profiles, and I can go through those and obviously reach out and connect with them. So I can be quite clever about how I search for people. So if you use this kind of search for your ideal personas, and obviously that can really show a lot of people that you can then reach out and connect with. So once we've connected with them, what's the next step? Because again, you can just have lots of connections, and what do you do with them? So part of obviously reaching out to connect with people, even if they're not active, they potentially will start to see your content, which is obviously really important, and that's that start of that journey and relationship building with you. But you can reach back out to them and just say, thank you for connecting, welcome to my network, and and then you can say, if you've got any questions about insert topic or need any advice on, where I am. So you kind of like keeping it quite open and just starting that relationship with them. If you have got any free resources, you can obviously reach out to them and just say, I've just created a free resource on this. I think you'd find it really useful. Would you like to send me? Would you like me to send you the link for you to download it? So if you think about it being more permission based, so you're asking them, not just spamming them with stuff and being one of those kind of inbox ninjas, which quite frankly I'm sure we've all come across before. I get them a lot every day, and quite frankly I ignore them. So, but if you think about it as being more permission based, people will respect that a lot more. And if you think how you feel when you get those horrible kind of pitchy kind of messages, then obviously how it feels as well. So ultimately we want to respect the inbox, but we want to start those relationship stuff with people that we're connecting with. I wanted to just put a screenshot in here about the different formats you can use when you're reconnecting with people. So as an example, if someone starts to follow you, you could connect with them and just send them a quick voice note, which is if you hold this button down here. This is on mobile, not a desktop, by the way. If you hold this button, this microphone down, you can just record a really quick voice note and say, hey, insert name, thank you so much for following me. I offer lots of advice about LinkedIn marketing or social media marketing. If you've got any questions, you know where I am, and I look forward to seeing your content. And that's super quick, doesn't take very long to do, but it's that personal, obviously, note back to them. If you're feeling more brave, you can do a video back. So obviously, I would suggest those kind of techniques, especially with video, is once you've built a bit more of a relationship with that person. However, not many people do these techniques, and it can make you really stand out. So another big part is about engaging, so commenting on posts, and a commenting strategy is actually a very important element of LinkedIn. So it isn't just about posting content, actually quite often commenting on other people's posts, especially people of influence or people that your ideal customers connect with, can be really, really powerful. So why is that? So it gets you in front of other people's followers. So if you are commenting on, as I say, more of a person of influence in your space or your ideal customers, it gets you in front of their followers. They will see those comments. It helps your relevancy score with that person. So again, if it's an ideal client and you're commenting on their post, you're more likely to see their posts again in your feed, because LinkedIn will prioritize that in your feed. And also, I think it's a really good starting place if you're not confident enough to post your own content. And again, I think this happens a lot, and people are they have kind of that they're quite scared about putting themselves out there. So if you're just getting started on LinkedIn, or obviously even if you're kind of more of a regular user, a commenting strategy is important. But if you're just getting started, you know, just putting some good comments on other people's posts is a good place to start. And when I say good posts, I mean not this is a great post. It's like I find this really interesting because, and then you can add more of your insight, so you're still showing your knowledge, but you're not sidetracking from their post, you're enhancing their existing post. And you can tag others if relevant, you know, only if relevant. So don't just tag people for tagging's sake, but you can tag others if the content you've seen could be of interest to them, or, you know, or you can bring them into the conversation. So you use the commenting space as a way to improve your networking as well. And I've put in the bottom as well, so the law of reciprocity. Ultimately, if you support other people's content, then we'll likely support yours as well. So, you know, it is a space, you know, the more you invest in giving and supporting others, the more likely they are to support you as well. So it's super important to look at that. So now that we kind of feel that we need to move on to the content piece now, because, you know, it is, if you can just comment, you know, and you can, if you're just starting out there, but content is obviously really important as well. So I've taken this framework, and this is actually from a guy called John Espirian, and he is awesome on LinkedIn. He does a lot of research. So I did some training with him, and I think it's a really, really important framework to share. But what we want at its essence is to really have a think about your personal brand. And, you know, some people, you know, kind of shrivel up when people talk about personal brand. But ultimately, what a personal brand is about your tone, how you want to position yourself on LinkedIn, the themes and the topics you want to be known for, and also your values. So if you can just have a bit of a brainstorm about, you know, what kind of person do you want to be online? What kind of person are you offline? And, you know, you don't want to be a different person from offline to online, but how do you want to show up on LinkedIn? And the themes, you know, what kind of themes do you want to talk about? So, for example, for me, social media marketing is obviously a huge subject, and I sit very much in the lead generation space, so I will talk about lead generation. But I'll also talk about meta ads, because I run meta ads for a lot of clients, and also LinkedIn is a big space for me. So those are the kind of three themes I kind of will hone in on, and my values is about, you know, giving. I like to think I'm very approachable and friendly. My clients always say so. So that's the kind of tone that I want to be coming across, and, you know, sharing my support and helping others. So your post should resonate with your ideal client, and I love the phrase with them. So what's in it for me? So they really want to gain something from your content. So it's not about you, it's about how you support them. So the chair framework, if I just go through these different elements, it can help you think about the types of content that can be really helpful to post on LinkedIn. So the C of chair is challenging. So you could share an opinion. So it doesn't have to be, it could be controversial. It could be your opinion about a certain industry, or you could just sit on the fence and ask a question. So, you know, what does my network think about, you know, the iOS update that's coming, or something, you know, like that. But, you know, you could, you know, challenging, I think, is a really, really good one to think about. And then helpful. So again, there's a guy called Joe Glover. He heads up the marketing meetup, which is absolutely phenomenal resource for marketeers. But I remember him saying, you know, what is the most useful thing you can share today? So you are the curse of knowledge, I think, is absolutely massive, and you don't know people don't know what you know by a long way. So, think about what's the most helpful thing you can share, because I think helpful is a really, really important part of that framework. And then amusing, be human. You are human. Other people on LinkedIn are human. So, has something funny happened, or, something that can show your personality, and, you're reflecting your individual tone into your post as well. And then interesting. So again, reflecting the industry that you're in. It could be some news. It could be something that's interesting that's happened at a sector event, or something that's interesting to your audience as well. And then relevant and timely, so timely and topical. So, I'll give an example of Barbie. I mean, obviously that was a huge campaign. I saw lots of people jumping on and talking about how they'd achieved what they'd achieved, something quite topical. So, you can tap into kind of what's being talked about on LinkedIn and add your comments to that as well. And there are some really good social listening tools. So TalkWalker is very good. So if you sign up to alerts for TalkWalker around a certain topic, or Google Alerts as well. So Google Alerts can send a daily update of really good articles that have been shared on a certain topic. So you can kind of then lean into some timely and topical articles that are being talked about. So obviously content can come in many forms. So I always think, content first, what is that topic going to be out, and then think about how the format of how I'm going to show that in as well. So formats on LinkedIn, there are video. So obviously you can record Zoom, you could record a Loom walkthrough of something. There's lots of apps, and I'll show you some towards the end of this presentation. But video is obviously really big. A lot of people are scared of video, and I understand that, but it is important. People can see your face. Graphics as well, so still graphics, photos, obviously photos with people in them will often catch people's eye. I saw a very good post from a lady I follow called Michelle Raymond, and she actually in summer dressed up in winter clothing, and it was really eye-catching. It made me stop. I mean, her content's brilliant anyway, but something that's slightly different can work in terms of photos and graphics. And then carousel posts, super powerful, and that comes back to that the point below, which is dwell time. So one of LinkedIn's algorithmic there's been obviously a few algorithmic changes, but one of them is what's super important, is about how long people spend on your post. So for example, if I put a caption and someone clicks see more, see that shows that they have shown interest in my post. If I've then got a carousel post and they scroll through and I've got 5 or 6 slides and they've read every single one and they've spent, I don't know, 10-15 seconds on my post, maybe longer, that again is a really important signal to the algorithm that that content is of value. And similarly with video, if people watch your video to the end, again, dwell time is really important for those signals to LinkedIn that your content is of value to your audience. Obviously there's lives as well, but ultimately the core kind of core different formats for content, also you can do text only as well, but graphic, video, and carousel posts. And there are obviously events as well, but that's a slightly different thing. So I've put on here as well, so you can check out LinkedIn News. So LinkedIn have some news items that they talk about. This was actually a screenshot from a while back, but ultimately there might be some articles on there that could inspire you to talk about or contribute to those different news items. So it's always worth checking out LinkedIn News. I've talked about those other 2 kind of more social listening tools. I think they are really valuable to look at as well. So in terms of a post anatomy, and I see this quite a lot on LinkedIn. I see some brilliant posts, obviously, as well on LinkedIn, but some posts are just a wall of text, and they're quite hard, I find them quite hard to read. So what I just wanted to show you here is just an idea, and to get your kind of your juices flowing about how you could use this style of post. But emoji and bold headlines. We want people to click that, read more. We want to send that signal to the algorithm that people are interested in our content. So a hook, an initial hook is really good to think about. Don't be frightened of white space. In between, use paragraphs. Break up your text if you can to make it easier to read. And the first few lines, is useful to kind of introduce the post and a short overview of what it's about. We want to really keep the content brief, a couple of sentences per paragraph, really, and you can use capitals for subheadings if you want to. you know, you don't have to just use lowercase. I have in this example, but you can use capitals for subheadings. You can use emojis as list markers, and then at the bottom, hashtags are a bit of a funny one on LinkedIn. They were talking about removing them. They haven't. You know, I always think it's quite good to put a couple into the bottom of the post to help you get your content found. Don't put it in the actual copy of the post, which I see some people do. I would put it at the bottom, so it can help your content get found. And also, you can tag people or businesses only where relevant. So don't just randomly tag somebody. That's just not good. But you can tag if relevant, and also businesses where relevant as well. So I've just put an example on the right hand side of you know, I was sharing some of my top tools I use. So you know, hopefully that kind of shows that example before I talk through. So engagement on the platform. So how do we encourage it? Obviously, tell people how to engage. I know it sounds really simple, but adding a call to action in your post at the end, like what do you think, or click on the first comment to get the link to my free download, or, you know, tell people what you want them to do. Don't just leave it empty at the end. And also, when people do comment, if you thank them, and obviously don't ghost those comments, you know, maybe add to what they've written, and connect with them if you're not already connected. And you can obviously reach out and leave them a voicemail through direct messages, say, you know, thanks so much for your comment, really appreciate it. You can then take them into your direct messages and have a further conversation with them. But the first couple of hours of posting is really key. So LinkedIn will show your post to a select few people that have generally recently engaged with your existing post you put out. If they engage and, you know, they obviously dwell time's important there, then they are more likely to show it to more people. If your first degree connections also comment on it, often that will then show to their connections as well. So, you know, it is really important to be on hand, to engage, and you can obviously like the post as well yourself, but, you know, don't just post and ghost. I think that's a really important phrase too. So we talked a little bit about video in the part where we talked about content. Again, a client yesterday said, you know, I've got a Vimeo link, can I just upload that? So obviously you're then taking somebody off of their experience they were having on LinkedIn off onto another platform. So I would always recommend using native video. Ultimately what that means is uploading the original file into LinkedIn. So you can record videos through InShot, which is a really good app, so you can edit straight into the platform and, you know, remove sections. If you want to piece different parts of video together, you can do that in InShot. It's very, very good. Loom, if you're just doing a walkthrough, I've done several of those before. If you just want to show somebody, you know, your audience, they've always got questions about a certain topic, you can do a quick walkthrough on Loom on your screen, or you could just do a recording on Zoom. So you obviously you can record your face and do and explain a video, etc. So I'm going to skip to the bottom bit, because ultimately captions are a really important part of video on any social platform, not just on LinkedIn. Most video online is watched without sound on. So LinkedIn has started auto adding captions to videos. You get one opportunity to check them and accept it. I would definitely check them through. They don't always pick up your tone, and sometimes there can be spelling errors, but you can obviously use LinkedIn to add captions automatically now, which you couldn't before. If you want to upload a video with captions burnt into the video, there's apps like HappyScribe, which is what I use for clients, where it actually burns the subtitles into the video itself, so you can kind of see do that in advance. But LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft and YouTube is owned by Google. So just to point out, if you obviously have a YouTube channel and you link out to YouTube, you know, obviously LinkedIn's not going to like that so much because you're taking them off the platform. But generally, you know, ultimately LinkedIn's business model is to serve people ads. You know, they get a lot of revenue from ad spend from companies, but also they want to create an environment where people want to spend time on the platform. So any links you take off, you know, sometimes can penalise your reach of your posts. And I suppose, you know, just coming to the end of this session, I know we've covered a lot, and hopefully you'll have some questions for me as well. But common mistakes, so posting and ghosting, I've mentioned that already. So people that post and then they walk away, and then, you know, people comment on their posts and they don't reply. So obviously the second one down. You know, it's a bit like if you think about being in a networking room, someone comes up to you and asks you a question, or, you know, says, you know, I really think that's a really good point, and then you turn your back on them and walk away. So if you think about how you deal with people in real life and think about translating that onto the platform, that's a really good start. Others, not commenting on other people's posts, you know, just using it as a broadcast channel. Don't just talk at people. You don't want to be that person in the room that just talks about themselves. You know, you want to use it as an engaging space to connect with others and support them as well. Inconsistency, so posting once, like 3 times a week, 1 week, and then disappearing for 6 months. So, you know, even if it's just 1 post a week that you can do, and then you're spending the rest of your time commenting on other kind of key accounts, and, you know, obviously that's a really good start. Incomplete or confusing profile, you know, I see this a lot. You know, I look at someone's profile, I'm not entirely sure what you do, quite frankly, not obviously you guys, but hopefully, but, you know, it's quite common that, you know, their profiles aren't complete, they might not have a photo, they don't have a banner, I just don't know what you do. So, you know, make sure that you position yourself properly, and use your profile as a landing page. And then pitching all the time and not leading with value to move the person you're trying to build that relationships on with along the buying journey with you, because ultimately most people aren't ready to do business with you straight away. You know, it's like 5% of people are ready and in market for your service at the time. So you've got a significant number of people that might be ready in 6 months' time, they might be ready in a year's time, or they might think of you when someone asks them to be referred to someone that does your service. So, you know, you need to lead with value, and you need to not be the pitch person that doesn't respect other people's inboxes. So finally, I think it's really good to take inspiration from others. You know, we're all learning. I'm not perfect on LinkedIn, but I'm learning all the time. And most of my business now does come from this platform, which is obviously why I feel I've got the credibility to talk to you about this now. So taking inspiration from others, you can save their posts. And I've just put a screenshot again of my profile of some of the posts I saved. And if you just think about, you know, why did that post resonate with me? You know, what was it about it? Was it the way that the copy was written? Was it the format? Was it the content? You know, what was it about that post that has made, you know, me stop and read it? So having in my items, which is on the left-hand side of your profile at the bottom, any post you save will be saved there, and you can kind of just go through them and just, you know, have a think about, you know, as I say, why they have inspired you. So I've obviously covered a lot today, and now is the time obviously to ask questions. Hopefully Matt will obviously take back control and we can go through those. But I just wanted to have a final slide. I've developed a freebie for you guys, which is LinkedIn profile checklist. So if you click on that link, and I'm sure hopefully Matt might be able to send that around afterwards, you can download a checklist just so that you can go back and go, right, okay, I'm just going to update my profile and make these slight changes, and hopefully I'll move you from the person in Doctor Who running away from LinkedIn to being the Zen cat. And there's just obviously some testimonials of some of the people I've worked with. So hopefully you found that useful, and I'm very happy to take some questions.